Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the Blades in the Dark rules by Evil Hat Productions. This actual play is performed by adults and contains adult themes. Our Duskwall is intended for adults, and so listeners should pay close attention to all listed content warnings. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., which may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. And now, on to the heist.
Welcome back to another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I'm Miranda, and today I'm going to be running some Blades in the Dark for you, our wonderful listeners. Before we get started with character introductions, I just want to say a haunted and industrial thank you to our listeners. We certainly appreciate you. And now, on to the heist. Let's meet the members of the press gang. To my right.
Hi, this is John, and I'll be playing Musket, the group's trusty hound. I'm not an actual dog, though I'm a man with a gun. Just to clarify that point.
To John's right.
Hi, this is Jake, and I'll be playing Spanner, the crew's leech. And again, an actual person.
At the end of the table.
This is Lonnie, and I am playing Strix, the group's cutter, and I am not a real person, so don't worry about it. It's fine.
To my left.
Hello there, my name is Mare, and I will be playing Lark, the crew's spider. And, she's definitely not a little Nepo baby who's going to get out of this scot-free, no matter what happens to the crew. It's going to be fine.
And last, but certainly not least.
Yeah, hi, this is Mike. I will be playing Jin, the group's slide, and I look forward to seeing how this all goes wrong.
Well, that is one thing that is absolutely for certain will happen. Now, when we last played, our group had just finished up a job. We kind of started mid-job with them transporting an item back over the Void Sea. A ship was attacked by a Leviathan. They managed to make it out alive with some creative thinking. And then we had a little bit of downtime, had a little bit of just activities that go towards how the gang progresses in the world, and then met with the Hive agent that we were delivering this item to, found out it was a bomb, and now they've been tasked and have accepted the task with delivering this bomb to its final destination, which is Skurlock's Manor. Now, there were at least one thing that I left off with last time. And so, Mike, you had done some reconnaissance. And as part of your downtime activities, you wanted to get an item, to requisition an item. And you only get, these are like, you're borrowing this stuff. So when you guys get an item as part of your downtime activities, you don't have it permanently, but you're kind of borrowing, big borrow still from friends. And so I will give some items that maybe you would talk to some people about that you could possibly get. And these are all from the Blades in the Dark heist cards, which come with different items and people and bad things that can happen to our gang. One is the Fang of Iberia, which is a stiletto. It has a runic symbol in it. The blade transforms electroplasm into a mutagen. And so the longer the blade is in the victim, the more monstrous the victim becomes. A cut gives nightmares, minutes give mutations, hours or days create a real monster. That could be fun on both sides. Another option is the Book of Walls. It is a book that was written with the blood of a mass of bloodworms, and the words were nonsense, but strangely affecting, and if the reader tuned into them and held the book, you could walk through a wall. We have the Orb of Celavis, which is a fist-sized orb that tunes to one bearer at a time. Though it can respond to others, and if you command it, it can release a steady light that radiates in the material world and the ghost field, revealing what is hidden. If you remember from our haunted industrial city, there is a whole ghost world that exists, and sometimes things are hidden in that realm. Ghosts and the undead and the monstrous are a big thing here. Just so you know, this radiation can draw or repel ghosts and demons.
Well, they all have very interesting options, and There's a lot of different methodologies there. I do like the idea of a book that would allow someone to walk through walls.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be supremely useful in certain circumstances. The orb also is probably another that is high on my list, especially because we don't really know what's inside this castle or what it might be filled with or the like. So is this something where like I'm making the choice, or is this something where I'm bringing these options back to the group?
I mean, I think it's up to you. I think you can make the choice. This is your item that you were getting as part of your downtime.
Okay, then it's definitely going to be the book.
The Book of Walls goes to one Mr. Jin. All right, and so then that kind of wraps up all of our business from last time. So we'll kind of go into some free play now. You guys have gotten information about a new job, and Blades in the Dark is not a game about planning a heist. It's a game about heisting, but there still is some very tiny bit of planning that needs to be done in the game. And what that is that the crew needs to pick a method of attack for the heist and then fill in one detail through either reconnaissance or talking to people or scoping the place out, any of those things that you can kind of do in free play to get that information to fill in the detail. And so the 6 different methods of attack for a heist in Blades in the Dark are assault, deception, stealth, occult, social, and transport. So I think a good place to kind of start narratively for us would be back at the press gang's hideout, their barge on the waterways, their hidden barge on the waterways. And we can kind of open with them discussing how they want to approach this job of delivering this bomb that they have with them to Skurlock Manor.
So I think the manor itself is likely going to be fairly well protected in multiple different ways.
So, Miranda, I have a question. With my role as the spider, I know that one of my downtime uses was to try and find kind of basically do recon, ask questions about Skurlock's Manor, kind of, the standard heist. What time do the shifts change for the guards? How often is he there? Is he planning to be there? Because I believe that we had news, or we had word that he also has another place in the city that he spends his time.
The other place in the city or out of the city is unknown to anyone. So it's kind of a very hidden and secretive location. So I know I kind of given you guys some information about Lord Skurlock. May or may not been honest or misleading, who knows. And because the rolls weren't super great. But I do have noted that consorting on info that I'm going to add a bonus die to your engagement roll. And so after we've done what little planning we will do, I'll roll an engagement roll before we start the next job. And then that will tell us kind of what position you are in when the job is starting, whether you're doing pretty good or whether things have kind of gone to crap. And I will give you a bonus die for that so that I'll have another die added to that pool so that maybe things will be going a little bit better for you.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Yep.
So that will be when Lurk shows back up. She will end up having changed from her lady about town clothes to her scummy little thief clothes, her little Blades in the Dark outfit, her I am of the people cosplay.
I'm imagining that Jin gives you no amount of shit for this. Like, when you come back into the hideout, I say something like, "Back to slumming it here, are you?"
Oh, come on. You mean back to having fun, right? We're going to have a good time. And she starts unpinning her hat that would have like feathers and all sorts of stuff on it, and then puts on her little page boy cap, tucking her hair up into it. It'll be a blast. Well, hopefully not a literal blast, but, And so she just goes to the changing area to start changing, all the while probably just amidst the basic information that she would have gotten, just kind of, hey, I know he's got another place in town, but also while changing in the other room is giving all sorts of other dumb society rumors and gossip because she can't help herself.
Did you know that Lady Melinda accidentally sat next to Lady Bellinger's husband? Some say it was an accident. Some say it was by design.
I heard that they touched hands with no gloves on. The scandal.
I think Musket lives vicariously through that. He's just like, yeah. And tell me, how is this person?
It's like, oh, and you won't believe it. Turns out that when we thought that they had a new pet, they were secretly talking about their love child.
I put a book down on the table. This little trinket should help us quite a bit.
Yeah, what's it do?
Well, rumor has it that it might help someone walk through walls.
I think Musket kind of looks at you like, half of the weird shit Musket has heard about in our city has been true, and the other half has been bullshit. And he's never sure whether what he's being told about now is going to be one or the other. He's just like, a book that lets you walk through, and did you just carry the book, or do you...
No, there's a specific amount of incanting that has to be done before you do it to activate it, yes?
Does it let you carry things through the wall?
I would assume, yes.
We could just carry the bomb in and drop it off.
Kind of the idea.
Do we want to perhaps try it before we assume that we can carry something in through the wall?
Lark, you said it yourself. This is supposed to be fun.
Okay. Well, if you go through the wall and then the bomb ends up in the bushes, that sounds like a fun time for someone.
At least I'll have the wall between me. I'm certain that the Mans will have defenses of some sort, both arcane and physical.
Which I guess brings us to the first question. How are we getting in through the gate to begin with? Do we need to forge some sort of special delivery paperwork to say you have a delivery incoming, and then us serving as transporters, or?
I think it's a series of deceptions, both visual and social. And then if things get hot, then Musket here shoots everybody dead.
That is one of our standard fallback plans, yeah.
I came ready this time and has the tiniest little handgun, like it's just absolutely
Derringer.
precious. It's like absolutely precious and adorable, about the size of her hand, and is like has her name engraved on it with cute little like birds too.
Initials where the middle one is the biggest.
And somehow the enamel is like this turquoise blue, and even perhaps somewhere on it it says Lark, Laugh, Love.
That's fantastic.
I think fucking Musket's just like, that is utterly disgusting and I hate it.
Yeah, Lark is simultaneously the best and the worst.
That's correct.
Yes, exactly. It has an ironic bonus damage.
Please, bonus damage for how terrible it is.
I think this is a deception gig, folks. So
yeah,
that's where I'm at. I think that there could be aspects of it. We could look at it as a social thing. Like maybe we time up the job and it's on a night where, you know, there's a ball or a gala or something happening, which would be fun. But ultimately, I think we're essentially tricking and lying people to get this thing inside.
I agree.
Not only to get it inside, but we also have to make sure that he's present in the building when this happens as well, which I think has been the other aspect of it. That was what the Hive wanted.
Yeah, and that's going to be the trick. Turns out we have a hard time knowing when he comes and goes, so I was thinking I'm willing to go track him. You know, I'll use the network of urchins to keep you folks updated on his whereabouts, and I'll keep an eye on him. We don't know when he's going to come back to the family home, but it's going to have to at some point. And
do we know he's actually gone, though?
Well, I haven't started tracking him yet.
Well, get on it, man.
He just kind of sighs and he's like, do you want me to stick around for the house planning or just go straight to it? Because we've had this problem before.
The order of operations. Okay, lay the entire plan out, then we'll set everyone on their way. So, yes, part one, we need to track where he is and to see when he's going to be there next. Part two, we need to get into the building with the package undiscovered. Perhaps should we put something on the exterior of the crate so that it's like, for your eyes only, you know, do not open. I don't know, something, because if I were a nosy person, and I am, I would have opened it. I'm surprised we haven't opened it now, to be perfectly honest.
If he's a man of any form of wealth or power, he always has someone to open his packages for him. Just saying.
So if the crew lands on deception, then a deception job is to lure, trick, or manipulate. And the detail that you have to determine in order for us to get started with the job is the method of deception.
What if we just tell the truth? I smirk. What if we announce that there's a package coming to the manse that he has to be there for? And the package itself is just a ruse. The delivery of said, bomb happens in another way. But it's a package coming from someone very important. And so he has to, by social means, he has to accept it publicly. Because he couldn't possibly not risk losing face. We just use his nobility and station against him.
The rules of society are pretty tight. We could use those. For people at his echelon, I mean, any failure to comply would be at least scandalous.
What is scandal to someone who's ancient at that point, though?
That's true. But at the very least, we could use it as pressure on the family to let us get access to him.
Or maybe there's something that he collects or wants.
Look, he can't exist in a vacuum. So he's got to have allies in other factions. My thinking is that we can use those other factions, at least as a ruse or a front, to deliver something. So that he would, if they're his friendlies, or people who at the very least he keeps in his corner, he has to, and he just makes a hand gesture of like, that says, has to go along with it.
Yeah, maybe talk to his contacts, suppliers, whatever, and offer to take a package for them. I mean, that's what we do, right?
We know he collects odd arcana, don't we? That was something we had found out. That's something I have written down, but I'm also like,
You are welcome to roll to fill in this detail, like to get the information that you need for this detail. You are welcome, if you don't already have the kind of how you want to approach it, to roll a gather information roll is something that you can do. And you can do it with any of your skills depending on how you're gathering information. And so if that's something that you wanted to do, find out if he's waiting on something, find out if he is, any of those kinds of things, you are more than welcome to use that.
Yeah, I think we should do that. That sounds like a consort roll to me.
for me, that would be a survey roll, because that's how I work. I kind of hang back and I observe.
Yeah. Some different ways to do it would be like survey if you're casing a place, or like even hunt if you wanted to follow a courier that goes back and forth to the house. So really any of the skills can be used in most of these situations. It's just how you're approaching it. So consort, if you're talking to a bunch of people, but in the hound's case, it's probably going to be doing more surveying or hunting, or you may sway someone to divulge information. You can use really any of the skills were kind of made so that they can apply to any situation. It's just how your character goes about getting that information.
Okay, so it's a roll can be made by anybody who wants to make the roll.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize it was a group roll. I thought it was like each person tries their hand. That's why I was like, I'd use survey, but...
No, I would say, I'm a fan of not doing that. Not doing like everyone rolling, because then you're just like trying to ensure.
No, exactly. And it's too many options.
Yes.
I understand.
But think of the heat we generate.
So much heat.
Think about all these complications.
Things are getting hot in the city.
Okay. So, I have 2 points in consort. I'm sure that most people have 2 points in their highest skill. So it's sort of 6 to 1, half dozen the other.
I'll let you do it, Mike, because it's your kind of idea of taking the deceptive approach, so I'm happy to let you take the...
Miranda, I would like to consort with various savory and unsavory characters.
And what information specifically are you looking for in your consortium?
Well, I would like to effectively, as we would say in red markets, I would like to effectively find his soft spot. So I would like to find the thing that this guy likes more than anything else. What is he into? He's been around for a really long time. And so the thing about that is that actually feels like an advantage to me, because he has a long track history of people having interacted with his estate, interacted with him in some fashion. So I'd like to know what he's into. What is the thing that he has to get his, salivating fangs. I mean, his fingers on what is he really into? So, what's my position here?
This will just be a fortune roll.
Okay, 3 and a 4.
You are able to find out that Skurlock he's a collector of sorts. He has a lot of business holdings and cult shrines across the city. He's been collecting people, places, things for a while, all kind of related to the arcane. He's a big collector of the arcane, and no one really knows why he's kind of snatching up all of these places and items.
Okay, fair enough. So we just need to label the package. We need to maybe not label it, but let's let slip in the right circles that an artifact has been found within the city, and maybe see about bringing one of his buyers to us.
Perhaps not even within the city, because, within the city, I'm sure there's more connections if it did come from overseas, which technically it did, to add to the intrigue of it and the value of it. The more exotic, the more people will have an interest, especially if that is their nature.
Sounds good.
Now, your job was specifically to deliver it to the manor while he is there.
Okay, so I guess in the consort role that I got, I didn't really get any information about whether or not he'd be there or not. So that's going to be a bit of a struggle.
Yes. Well, that's not the detail that you have to fill in. If deception is the course of action that you wish to take, then the detail that you're filling in is the method of deception.
I think the method of deception could be that an artifact has been brought or has been, secured from a mysterious location outside of the city proper. And the rumor is that it can only be handled by noble hands.
So instead of breaking in, sneaking it in, you are essentially saying, invite us in with our bomb. That is our deception. Invite us into your home.
Apologies, it's the Greek in me.
I have a question. Does that mean that we're going to be standing there next to him at the viewing and the opening of said box?
Lark, what could be more fun?
Living?
Maybe that's where the book comes in.
Well, how many people can hold the book?
Well, it's a fairly reasonably sized book. Your hands are small. I'm sure we can probably all get around it, and it'll be fine, remember? It'll be nothing but fun.
So I think you guys have a good detail for your job. And really, that's all you need for your plan. That's all the planning that you do. Everything else can be done in flashbacks. So like method of getaway, things that maybe you have on your person or you have scoped out. Maybe our hound Musket has previously snuck in and left goods somewhere or found a method of escape. We don't know that yet, but we can find out later with some flashbacks. So we're really just going to throw you into it in the middle of this job.
Miranda, I have a question. In the previous job that we did, I used 3 of my item slots for my load. Do those reset any for the new heist, or do they stay?
Yep, you can pick a new load for the new job.
Okay. No, because I was kind of like, do I have to use these somehow now, or?
Nope. When we start our jobs, we'll kind of roll engagement, but you can certainly do it now, is pick whether you would like to have a light load, a normal load, or a heavy load.
Now, I have a question. The smugglers things that we had, the smugglers straps, I forget what they were called, but any of those things, does that affect our load as well, if that is anything we're doing?
The smuggler's rigging.
Smuggler's rigging just means that 2 items that you are carrying are perfectly concealed. So if you were to get pat down by guards or anything like that on your way into...
Seems like a good plan for the book, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, anyone who's going to have a weapon, because I have a feeling that this, in most noble houses, you leave your weapon at the door, I would imagine. I mean, this is Ghost World. There is a good chance that that's not necessarily the case, Like everybody's got a sonic screwdriver that like, get out of here, ghost, like a bug zapper. But
I think only you and your friends, when you're a noble that has ghosts in your security squadron, have the little screwdrivers.
gosh, I've got to place an order for us.
All right, so we will roll our engagement roll.
With a bonus die.
You start with 1d for luck, and we're rolling d6s for this. Would you say that this operation is particularly bold or daring?
I would say it's pretty ballsy to be like, hey, look at this, mister. Also, we're going to have other interested parties who will know we were the ones, or at least, the faces involved, because there's going to be other weird occultists in the city. So I think it might be pretty fucking risky to just walk up to the guy's door, even with deception in play.
Okay, so I will give you an extra die for that. Would you say that the operation is overly complex or contingent on many factors?
I mean, I'd like to say that it's not overly complex, but I don't know if that's true.
That's fine.
I mean, it does seem fairly straightforward. Deliver said package into the house, make sure he's there, and then after that, get the out.
Would you say that the plan's detail, which is to deceive Lord Skurlock with this arcane item, exposes a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they are weakest?
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
We know we're using his personal interest or vice, yeah.
All right, so you get a die for that. Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation? This is where I'm giving the extra die for Lark's consorting beforehand to gain extra information on Lord Skurlock. So you have 4 dice, 4d6, and we'll see where we go. I rolled a 1, a 3, a 6, and a 6. If you don't know this, 2 6s is a crit in Blades in the Dark. It is the best outcome that you can get, which means that at the start of our heist, you've already overcome the first obstacle and you are in a controlled position. So, with the fantastic engagement roll that you have made, I think it's safe to say that you fairly easily have caught the eye and ear of one Lord Skurlock, a single person that is so powerful that he acts like a tier 3 faction in the game. And so you have set up a time to meet with Lord Skurlock at his manor, as that is the only house in Duskwall that people actually know that he has. He doesn't live there all the time. Some people say like a nephew or a cousin spends most of his time there, but Skurlock himself does not spend a lot of his time there. Skurlock Manor is a dilapidated house in the Six Towers section of Duskwall. Six Towers was kind of this formerly prestigious district that has faded over the centuries, and it's just a shadow of what it used to be. So there used to be these 6 towers that would guard the residences of the noble families there, but all but 2 of them have been sold off and converted into apartments, and so the whole area has kind of fallen to ruin. Skurlock Manor itself is not immune to this, so it's kind of tumbled down now. There's vines covering it, and that's really what remains of the original fortune. But with all of the holdings and purchases that Skurlock has made recently, it's easy to say that the wealth of his family is still intact. He has just kind of moved on to finer abodes. And so that is where we find our gang on their job. With their critical role, you have managed to catch the eye of Skurlock and make it into the manor itself. The guards outside were pleased that you didn't seem to bring any weapons with you. They gave you a quick pat down, but they didn't really find anything on your person. That's both clever and bold of you. And you are led inside by one of these guards into a sitting, living area that is lit with these electroplasmic lights along the wall. And he'll let you know, Mr. Skurlock will be with you shortly.
Wonderful, thank you.
He's very interested in this purchase. It must have come at quite a price to you. I've never known him to meet someone like this before.
It's an exceptional piece, and one which I'm certain he'll be quite pleased with.
Well, just so you know, if this goes sideways at all, we'll be waiting close by. I always have an eye on my master. So don't try anything while you're here. I would hate to see something horrible befall such a nice, upstanding group such as yourself. He kind of side-eyes Lark a little bit.
Well, don't worry about it. And you seem to do a great job. How long have you been in his employ? And kind of has a little, just interest.
Truly as long as I can remember. I don't remember a time much before I was employed by Skurlock. I've devoted my life to his well-being.
Is that the same for most of the folks here? You can't. You'll have to pardon me. The whispers about town, right? Just as everyone has their curiosities.
I believe you could say that about anybody.
Oh, of course, yes.
The Lord Skurlock has never treated us anything but well. And his face is kind of gaunt, eyes kind of dark.
Yep. See, that is Lark's entire feeling out of this. So since a time immemorial, and I guess, does he have a lot of long-term employees here?
Well, they come and go. I think I've probably been around the longest. I've given everything for our Lord and Savior, Lord Skurlock. For Lord Skurlock.
Oh, absolutely. And, well, I appreciate that. I can appreciate the loyalty that I see here.
Thank you. I don't think that most hear that enough, but you seem to have a fine head about you, so I'm certain that this will go well for you.
Oh, you know how it is jostling about in society, just trying to meet others, make connections. I must say, I never thought that I would ever step foot in here. So this is what a treat today.
Yes, I'm sure it'll be very, very exciting, very fortuitous for you. Now, I will leave you be. The master will be along shortly.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
And he will back out and close the door behind him. You'll hear a little click.
Lark makes a face looking at everyone else, and then silently, not saying anything else, jabs her thumb in the direction of the guy and puts 2 forefingers at the top of her lips to indicate that it's hey, it may not just be one person we're having to think about here.
After a brief period of time, you hear the door kind of click back, creak open, and in walks a man that has kind of an air about him that you know that this has to be him. He is dressed kind of all in black, but very well put together. He has kind of this nice top hat on, a lot of jewelry. He's wearing a number of rings, and he's a very tall, rail thin man, and he almost glides into the room. He doesn't even seem to be walking. It's almost as if he ethereally floats into the room in front of you. You must be the press gang. And as he enters, the door locks again behind him.
Yes. I keep forgetting I'm the face character for this, and this is terrifying. Yes, we are. Thank you so much for meeting with us today.
Oh, no, thank you. brought me something from across the sea?
We have. And she gestures at the crate, I believe it is, that is there with us. We have.
Well, he kind of runs his fingers along it. What is it? Have you not opened it yet?
Well, knowing your expertise within all things arcane, having heard of that, I am sorely lacking, I believe, in the arcane. We have some of our friends here who are slightly more skilled than myself, but with your knowledge and background, it may be something more of interest to you. It could not be. But that being said, we don't know. And perhaps you could assist us. And if it is of interest to you, then it's all yours.
Like a present, like a birthday present for the unwrapping then.
Indeed.
Well, let's get right to it then, shall we? And he'll approach the box and kind of run these long, thin, spindly fingers around the edge of it. Yes, and a fine birthday present it will be, I think. And he kind of reaches for the latch, and as he lifts it up, you hear this ticking noise begin. And he pulls open the lid, and this green and yellow light spills out of it, along with this burst of smoke and fog, and you hear screaming. Screeching penetrates your ears as what you know to be 5 ghosts spill out of this box, released into the room, and there is rage behind their eyes. And Skurlock begins to laugh and cackle, and his laugh grows louder and louder as these ghosts begin to swirl around the room. They don't seem to be attacking him. You find yourself what I could best describe as a ghost blender, and each one of them is getting closer and closer and closer to you, and some of them even will try to cling onto you and start to wrap themselves around you.
It's at this moment that Musket hates the hive more than ever. Not once have they done us right. He's like, this is worth so much more than 6 pieces of coin. Jesus fucking Christ.
I can't do anything other than laugh.
I believe this is where we could incorporate part of our flashback load moments.
Yeah.
Being the daughter of a merchant who has the means to keep the family protected and such, Lark keeps about her a spirit bane charm. It was a gift to her when she was younger, a wee child, and just taken care of in the family. And to my understanding, a spirit bane charm prevents possession?
Yes, and you don't have to use a
flashback for it, because that's one of my things from my loadout, right?
Yes, and it will cost you 0 load because it is small. And a Spirit Beam Turn is a small arcane trinket that ghosts prefer to avoid. So it will not prevent possession, but it may give you some bonuses on. They are angered by it. If anything, it kind of pisses them off because you've released them into this locked room, and now their Spirit Bane charms, really, it's kind of annoying.
It's like a stink bug went off in the room. It's like, you lock me in here with a skunk. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I just, a little bit of that. She takes a step back with that. But yeah, so that was a part of my loadout.
Now, these are murderous ghosts, I will say that. And so I think that the ghosts kind of smell a bit of stink on Strix from that demon blood that accidentally got in his mouth, and they're pretty pissed off about it. And so they are going to begin to pull at Strix's limbs. 4 ghosts will go to kind of grab Strix's limbs and begin pulling him apart, or attempting to pull him apart.
Well, that seems a bit negative.
Yep. The last of the 5 will start to wrap its ghostly self around Spanner's head, essentially choking out the oxygen, making it difficult for Spanner to breathe.
Can I use a flashback here?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, knowing that we were going to go up against a vampire, I think he would bring something a little special with him and bring a black salt bomb.
Okay. What does a black salt bomb do?
It covers a small room, keeping ghosts from entering or exiting.
I like that. I think that since that is kind of it's not one of your standard items, I think that's going to cause you 2 stress in order to do that flashback.
Okay.
So you are welcome to take 2 stress for that, and I will give you can have the bomb.
All right, well, then I'm going to drop that thing.
Okay, that makes absolute sense. So Spanner has this ghost bomb on him, and he takes it and chucks it, I think, to see the kind of effectiveness of it. I'll have you roll actually, you get to pick what you roll. So whatever you think applies the most.
I think I'm going to go with wreck.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So what's the position here?
Your position is controlled based on your engagement roll. So it'll be controlled, and I will give this a greater effect because you utilized your fat flashback for it.
It was 6.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you guys are doing great with this. So because you are controlled and you have this greater effect, you smash this bomb, and it immediately has effect on some of these ghosts. Murderous Ghost is a 6-part clock, and with your 6, I will be marking off 3 of these, and you can tell that this kind of smoke around you of this bomb starts to repel this ghost that's kind of wrapped itself around you, and the ghosts are pinging off of the walls like they can't get out of this room for some reason, which is strange for ghosts. Something that maybe Lord Skurlock has done with the manor, and he is still standing in the room just laughing like a kid that has opened up a confetti popper as these ghosts begin to ping around the room. And they're screaming, like screeching, and it penetrates your ears and into your mind, and it's difficult to focus because it's like you feel like your ears are going to start to bleed from the screaming of these ghosts as they ping pong around the room.
Now, you say they grabbed me, so am I able to physically interact with any of them?
You can certainly try to. What do you want to do to them?
Well, a quick thought realizes that whatever is in the box might be what held them in the box. So there might be some sort of runes or control. I don't know, it's arcane. That's not my field. But whatever's in the box might keep them in the box.
Okay.
So if I could throw one in the box or throw some in the box, that would be great because they're like attached to me.
Yes. Attuning is generally the skill that you would use to do anything with ghosts and spirits and things like that. So you are welcome to, that's probably the most likely skill unless you have a really good argument for something else.
I don't have a good argument. So it's 2 dice, and I take the lower of the 2.
Yes, unless you would like to push yourself or accept a devil's bargain, then...
I can accept a devil's bargain.
Okay. a devil's bargain for attuning to this box. I don't want to give you full-on trauma for it because trauma is a pretty significant hazard in the game. Like once your trauma fills out. But I do think that part of it is that you can interact with this box or attempt to interact with this box, but something is going to come back with you from the box. That demon blood that you kind of ate a little bit of earlier is attracted to this, and I think that what's going to happen is, you know what, I am going to give you the trauma. I would give you the trauma haunted because I feel like you are going to get too close to the ghost field for this. I think if you want to do this, especially with you having no knowledge of attuning, it's going to be reckless and something is going to stick with you from this box. You are going to become obsessed with these arcane arts and knowledges.
Like maybe one of the ghosts hangs around and just munches on demon blood in my body?
Yeah. One of them will attach themselves to you, just always on your back, always whispering in your ear, draining you little by little, day by day.
That sounds fine.
Okay, perfect. So then you get a bonus die, which means that instead of rolling 2 and taking the lowest, you just roll 1 die. And I would call this, because your overall position was controlled before, I would have called this like a controlled standard position, which you rolled a 3, which means you falter. You can either press on by seizing a risky opportunity, which means you try again and roll under risky, or you can withdraw and try a different approach.
I can press on.
Yep. Okay. So essentially, you tried this in a controlled manner. That's kind of where your group is at right now. Since you've kind of faltered. If you would like to press on, you can certainly do so, but it will be risky this time, which carries harder consequences. So you can try again by trying to attune again. Would you like to push yourself or take another devil's bargain?
I'll push myself.
Okay. So you'll take 2 stress. And you get that bonus die again.
Well, alrighty then. That was another 3.
Okay, so perfect. So on a 1 to 3 for risky, things go badly. You suffer harm, a complication occurs, you end up in a desperate position, you lose this opportunity. I think that what happens is you kind of trigger the next of the clocks for this particular heist. And as Lord Skurlock is laughing, smoke begins to kind of billow out from his feet. And then you realize that the suit that he was wearing, it's almost like it's not fabric. It unravels itself from his body and dissipates into smoke that engulfs him, and his body grows into this larger creature, and his eyes begin to glow. And some of you have seen a demon before. Some of you have read and heard of demons before, but you realize, oh fuck, he's not a vampire. There is a demon in this room with you now. A demon of smoke enters the room. And he begins tearing the room apart. And as he touches different things, different couches and tables that have kind of grown dust and been covered in sheets around the room, they start to singe and burn.
Are there any windows in this room?
There are windows. They have all been boarded over.
Okay. And then the door behind us is still locked?
Yes.
Has our little friend decided that, they're popping in? I gave a couple compliments,
No.
Okay, so did the little friend knew this was about to go down? Okay.
He's just like, the master's having a wonderful time.
Man, fine. I guess I won't ask him out to coffee later.
He's been to
cool.
these parties before.
Oh, okay.
I think he's done the cleanup before too. He's just like, the master's having a wonderful time.
Bless him.
It's at this point that Musket is going to pull out his pair of fine pistols loaded with electroplasmic ammunition. And Miranda, I would like to, quote unquote, start blasting.
Okay.
Yeah, he just pulls out these beautiful, like, pistols that have beautifully engraved barrels. And he just points one at Lord Sturlock and the other at the ghost that is around Spanner. And he just shoots the one on Spanner first. And I guess I roll hunt, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Position.
You're in a risky position now, thanks to our good friend Strix. And I would say standard effect.
And in order to get this damn thing off Spanner, I'm going to push myself.
Okay. And Spanner's doing pretty good because Spanner had his bomb, which kind of pissed off the ghosts. I think Strix is probably in a worse position right now with ghosts screaming in his ears and demon blood in his body, and he's fucking with his box. Yeah.
Yeah, like the left hand is pointing at Spanner, and then he's like, he's actually doing okay. Relatively speaking, considering the scenario. And it just switches to Strix, and he's like, okay, 2 ghosts is worse than 1 ghost. And I bite my lip as I aim, and I'm unfortunately going to break the skin as I because, I'm kind of freaked out by all these fucking ghosts, Miranda, and a demon.
Yeah, that's actually a good point here, John. And that is that this is a harrowing experience. And in general, seeing a demon tends to either paralyze a person with fear or panicking them into fleeing from its presence. So I think if you are going to act in a different manner than either of those, I think you'll have to make a resolve roll to see if you can do that.
Cool. I'll do that first before I do this. Okay, resolve. A 6.
So you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I'm just annoyed. I'm just mad as hell. So yeah, now I'm going to shoot them ghosts. 3, 5, 3.
A 5 still has a complication,
Of course it does.
harm, or reduced effect, or you end up in a desperate position. But you do get to mark off some of this clock. So I'm going to take 2 off of your clock here. So there's only 1 left on the ghost clock. And would you like to resist suffering harm, a complication, or reduced effect?
I would like to resist that, please.
Okay. You can certainly do that. I believe that to resist this effect, it'll be another, I would say, prowess or resolve. I think either would be inside.
It sounds like it's physical this time, so it's...
It's more like, I don't know, I feel like to resist the effect, I feel like this is like a fear effect too. Like you're trying to fight off these ghosts, and I feel like this is more like a personal, like a willpower thing.
Okay, in that case, yeah, I totally see a resolve.
Yeah.
A 2.
Okay, so you will take 4 stress.
4 stress.
But you are able to resist any consequences of that action.
Okay.
Yeah, so the ghosts have almost been defeated. John, you'll be able to act in the future. If anyone else would like to take some positive actions here, you will just have to roll to resist the ghostly effects and seeing a demon, seeing a ghost.
Being in a ghost blender sounds pretty upsetting to begin with, especially when they're screaming and you can hear it in your whole psyche and your soul.
Yeah, it's hard.
It sounds like it makes concentrating a bit of a fucking pain, to be honest.
So I'd like to take an action.
Okay,
A positive one, hopefully. And no guarantees there, kids. So we had made an assumption, perhaps, that Lord Spurlock was a vampire. And so it's clear that one of the contingency plans that Jin would have set up was the ability to get out of a space which was locked and or hindered from the outside space. He did that in one regard when it comes to obtaining the book. But the book isn't necessarily a usable item by everyone. He's not sure if it is or not. He's concerned that they all won't be able to go together. And so he crafted or obtained a backup plan. So before they came in, he obtained one other thing which he could secrete on his person, which was a large bomb. And his plan is to set it against the door and set it off to thus render the whole lockdown situation in this room null and void.
That's not in your loadout then. That is going to be a flashback?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So that, I think, will be 2 stress.
Sure.
For that flashback. But you are welcome to have a bomb.
I would like to utilize said bomb.
What skill will you be using?
Aha. Well, that's an excellent question. I would like to set this bomb off with finesse.
Okay, yeah.
I think that with all of the craziness going on, what is required at this point is some sort of feat of gymnastics while going on in this room. So I would like to do some somersaults back towards the door, then extricate that bomb from some place on my person, and then set it against the wall, and then essentially strike that flint across the likely metallic bracing that is on the door somewhere and create a spark. Because I'm betting that Sprock's got these fancy doors that are banded. They're nice and beautiful. So what's that's just a finesse roll then?
Yep. You can push yourself or take a devil's bargain.
I'm going to push myself.
Okay.
And the position is, are we still controlled or are we risky now?
You're risky now.
2 pours.
Ooh, okay, 4s. So you do it, but there's a consequence. You suffer harm, a complication occurs, or you have reduced effect, or you end up in a desperate position. I think that this would be harm, as I think that you place the bomb, you don't quite get away in time.
Oh, yeah. I think the bomb as described in the Blaze in the Dark game comes with a long fuse, and I think Jin's idea is that he's going to light that fuse way shorter than it's supposed to be.
Yep.
And as he's not a demolitions expert, he has no idea what the blast radius is like.
Yes, much like lighting off a firework in your hand, but not in your hand. But I think that you are definitely, I would say your harm would be a level 2 harm shrapnel, unless you want to resist that.
What would I resist it with?
Prowess.
Oh, yeah, totally. I think I'd like to try to resist it. 5 through 5.
Okay. So you will take 1 stress, and I will instead just give you like a level 1 harm that is singed. So you're just a little, so your eyebrows will grow back, I'm sure. Your arm hair will grow back, I'm sure. You're just a little singed.
Fabulous. What's the bomb effect?
You are able to blast a pretty good hole in this door, I'll say.
Nice.
So there now is kind of this hole blown open in this door as a possible means of escape for the crew. Oh, I did. If you wanted to take that action, I forgot. Did you roll your resist to be able to overcome the demon ghost scare?
I probably didn't.
Okay, we'll do that now because you'll just take stress for it regardless. So.
Yay, stress. So what's that roll?
That was a resolve roll.
4 and 3.
Okay, so you'll just take 2 stress for resisting your fear to be able to blast that door open.
Okay.
And I will give you 2 for the action. I'm going to tick off the last box for Murderous Ghosts because we have Spirit Bane in here. Our leech has dropped this like anti-ghost bomb. The ghosts don't want to fucking be around here. And so they also start to spill out into this hole that you have opened up for them, screeching out of the room as they go. So you have mitigated the murderous ghosts.
But we're still in this room with this demon?
Yeah. I mean, you're welcome to leave. There's a hole in the wall now.
There's now a hole in the wall, though, so that's great.
Yeah, the hole in the wall looks amazing. Irina is immediately going to start scrambling for the hole in the wall.
Because you're fleeing now, you won't have to resist because you are running away from the demon, which is one of the 2 actions that you can take without having to resist something. I will say if the general consensus is kind of running away, I will have a roll like just for you to run away. How will you be running away?
Can I finesse? Can I like calmly walk out of the room? Like, oh, well, there's that, using finesse as a way to like, whoop, well, time to go. And
yeah, well, finesse is really anytime that something needs like a careful action. So I think with finesse, you are going to be, it's also handling a vehicle or a mount. So it could be you trying to grab a mount outside of the outside of the mansion to get away. It could be really you are just trying to nimbly get out of the building.
Yeah, I think that would be the case, because I'm sure that like with the hole that's been blasted, there's probably some refuse and everything. There's some like beams and different things. And then not to mention, the staff seems to be well acquainted with these sorts of interactions, and just kind of nimbly sort of finessing my way out of there without sparking followers.
Yeah, go for it. Devil's Bargain or pushing yourself?
I will push myself. I'm relatively unstressed at the moment, so we'll do that. Risky standard 1 bonus die?
Yes.
Good Lord. Oh no. Oh no.
Luckily, double ones is not like a crit failure or anything like that. But a 3 and a 1 is pretty much the same thing, which is that things go badly. You suffer harm, a complication occurs, you end up in a desperate position, or you lose this opportunity. So I'm going to say that you attempt to nimbly get out of this rubble, but you immediately, your foot gets caught and you fall and you twist your ankle, and I will give you the harm of a sprained ankle, which will make it harder to run away in the future unless you would like to resist that.
Resisting accrues more stress, right?
Yep.
And then more stress leads to those other terrible traumas, correct?
Yeah, trauma.
Is it trauma that's able to be healed with vices, or is it stress?
No, it's just stress.
Just stress. Okay. So then I'm gonna take the harm. I'm gonna hold on to that harm.
Okay. Yep. So.
Owie!
Twisted ankle. Write that down as a level 1 harm.
Sounds great.
What's everyone else doing?
I'm running. I don't know about anybody else.
I think we have a flashback. I have a flashback to Musket, Spanner, and Jin having an argument on whether a vampire is a person with a demon in them, or if it's a that it's in some way demonic. And so clearly it's got its own set of rules, but they're very close to demon rules. So I would like to use a flashback to the scene of the three of us arguing about like, how would you fight a demon over like a drink during the prep phase to figure out, to like have some arcane implements that we could use as like the equivalent, Miranda, of throwing over some crates during an escape sequence.
Yeah, I was thinking it's the equivalent of like smoke bomb, like. Yeah,
exactly. Something that would blind him.
Yeah, that would blind a demon, because you have spent all this time like, demons are devils and so are vampires, and how would one fight one of those things? And you possibly went to one of your contacts to get a collection of herbs and spices that would be anti-demon.
I'm promised that's very effective. Anti-demon
herbs and spices you have in these little pouches that you can kind of throw down. I mean, I like that. Yeah, I'm cool with that if you want to do that. As your flashback, you'll take...
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, I'll do 1 stress for this one.
Okay. Do you need me to roll resolve to throw something at this guy?
Yeah. Well, so you've already done your resolve roll once, right?
Yeah, to do something.
Yeah, you'll just have to roll to actually take action.
Okay. And now I guess to throw something at him, I guess would be finesse?
I think you could argue finesse or skirmish, or a hunting is precision from a distance. So it could be that, whatever you want to, whatever you can argue.
Well, in that case, I'm going to argue hunting, because I'm like, I knew it. I told you this would be useful. And as I throw it at him, position is still risky, effect is standard, and I will make a deal with the devil to succeed here.
Does anyone have a good, sometimes I like to leave it up to the crew, anything good that you could think of for a devil's bargain in this situation?
I think that you came by the proper ammunition, but I think you had to do something terribly dubious and unlike your character to get a hold of it.
Yeah, something like had to violate some part of my own moral code.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Word of that and word of this is going to get back to your contacts, and will have a tainted effect on your reputation going forward. That you've begun to dabble in the arcane, and that is somehow tainted your reputation as this fine hound hunter.
I had always been very strict in terms of like, no, you do it yourself. Like, bringing in the supernatural is just asking for trouble. The bullets are one thing. Anything more than those is just, it's violating a core principle. And I've given lectures on it to people in bars over drinks. They never asked me to, but I did it.
And now you're a hypocrite.
And now I'm a hypocrite. The worst thing.
The worst possible consequence.
Yeah. So I get 1 bonus die for that, right?
Yes.
Oh boy, I just had to trade all my dignity.
For a 4. This is your smoke screen. You throw it down, and you do it, but there is always a consequence, which would be harm, a complication, reduced effect, or you end up in a desperate position. I will say in this case, because this is your first dabbling, that you can do it with reduced effect. It's not quite as powerful or long lasting as you would like, unless you would like to resist that.
I guess I'm going to try and resist that.
I would say that's going to be with insight, probably.
Okay, yeah, consequences of deception or understanding. And yeah. I think that's a consequence of my understanding of the material.
Yeah, so if you want to resist that with insight, you can.
A 6.
Okay, so you take no stress for resisting. Good job. And you are able to kind of resist that effect and get the actual poof effect that you wanted from this kind of smoke bomb that you've thrown, this anti-demon smoke bomb.
Once I've thrown that down, I am going for that hole in the wall.
What's the rest of the group's general consensus on escapement?
So I am going to escape, but I'm not going to escape without Lark. Mostly because I figure that if I'm going to end up in prison, Lark will hopefully get me out. To do so, I'll be utilizing a very important book. And I'm going to alter trajectory with the assistance of the bomb, of course, that's gone off, and hunt me a Lark and then find me up a wall.
Ow, I'm down here.
I'll allow the grabbing Lark because getting through the wall with the book is going to require an attune roll.
Oh, good. Good. I'm not prepared for that at all, so I like that idea.
Yeah, me too.
So when I grab Lark, I'll just say, hold on to this book with me and believe really hard.
Is that the instructions? As she holds on to it?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, something like that. All right, here we go. And you see her squint her face like she's just like scrunching it up and believing with all she has.
Okay, so that's an attune roll.
Yep.
Am I able to assist?
You are able to assist. That will be 1 stress for you, Lark, and that will give Mike a bonus die.
So I assume we're in a risky position.
Yeah.
My face scrunching is helping.
Promise it is. Yes, that's a 6.
I've never been more disappointed.
The power of belief.
By the power of Grayskull.
By the power of friendship.
You grab this book and you both hold on to it and push into this wall, and there's a bit of resistance, and it feels like the wall is bending itself around you, and then you pop through to the other side of the wall. There's like some resistance, and then that immediate pop release of resistance as you sort of stumble into the next room over.
It worked. I looked very surprised.
Lark just kind of has an moment as we go flying through the air for a bit.
I guess that leaves me running.
Yeah, and I think a good action for kind of those that are left in the room, if your general consensus is running through the hole in the wall, would be we can do a group action, which we haven't done yet, which would be if one of you is leading a group action, then we roll for everyone who is participating, and the best roll counts, but whoever's leading takes stress for any 1s to 3s rolled.
I think I'm the only one still in the room, right?
No, I'm still in the room too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I think John is technically still in the room too.
I'm scuttling towards the door, but yeah. Also, the room now smells of burning herbs. Kind of accurate.
Yeah.
In addition to whatever a demon smells like.
Was there anything, Spanner, that you wanted to do in the room, or are you going for getting the fuck out?
Well, I was thinking about throwing a fire oil to help cover our escape.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, I think we should do that.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's do this. 6.
Oh, 6, yeah. So you throw some more, throw this fire oil to help cover your escape, and it forms this kind of perfect line of flame, protecting you from those that are on the other side, and it's like the lights in an airplane that will direct you towards the exit that are guiding your way out of the room. So that's great. And then, Strix, did you want to lead the charge out of the room?
I can. Would that be a command roll?
It'll be a group action. So everyone will roll that is participating in the group action. And then you'll just take stress for anyone that rolls poorly. But I will give everyone a bonus die for the kind of protective measures that you have thrown down, being the fire oil and then kind of the demon suppression herbs, all of those things. So everyone that's kind of still in the room can get a bonus action to leave by whichever skill that you want to use. Some recommended skills might be survey if you wanted to kind of scope out the room and figure out the best means of exit. Finesse, wreck if you just want to kind of plow through, that type of thing. So yeah, whatever the 3 of you want to roll, you'll each roll, and we'll take the highest as the result.
I mean, my inclination is to use survey because I have 2 pips.
Yeah, I have 1 pip in everything that was suggested, so yeah.
And just to confirm, Miranda, we all roll the same skill, right?
No, you roll whichever skill
we
you
can
want.
each roll do our own thing. Oh, in that case.
So we have a 6, a 3, and a 3. And so the 6 means that you will do it without, you are able to get out of the room. The 2 3s, that means that Strix will take 2 stress from leading you guys out of the room.
It's stressful, but he had to do it.
It is stressful leading the group, but it is a successful action. And I feel like you guys run out of the room. And as you kind of run out, Lark and Jin are standing there holding a book that they've pressed through the wall, and then the 3 of them go kind of running past you to get out.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And if the group's consensus is to run away, then I am happy for us to flee this job. I feel like you've fulfilled your obligations as the crew, the press gang, goes running out of the building. And that's where we'll call this episode for today. And we will catch back up with our gang next time.